dub dub.
Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun.
Da dooby dooby da dooby dooby dub dub.
Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun.
Da dooby dooby da dooby dooby dub dub.
Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Your book of life will buy you a mild accepting. My free mind will keep me from under your spell. And when we die, you'll be another angel in heaven. But me, I'll be a fucking legend in hell. Your book of life will buy you a mild accepting. My free mind will keep me from under your spell. And when we
Rise and shine, my sinners. When Father Evil starts his day, he gets a little deadly. Deadly Grounds coffee has the richest, smoothest flavor you'll find anywhere. It's sinfully delicious. Once you go deadly, you never go back. Order yours at getdeadly.com. Coffee's so good, it's scary.
And here we are. We are now live for another episode of Still Toking with. Happy Sunday morning, everybody. And this is a very special episode. First time we've done a Sunday show. But I wanted to introduce you guys to our maestros here, Ben and Jeff. Hello, gentlemen.
What's happening, everybody?
What's going on, peeps?
I'm still trying to wake up, so you're going to have to bear with me here. It's early on a Sunday morning.
Right.
No beer, just coffee.
Yeah. How many cups are you into right now, Jeff?
3.
Only 3.
Yeah. Would you guys like to introduce our awesome guests?
Sure.
Sure.
Ben.
Oh, you want me to do it?
Yeah, I did it last time.
Yeah, so you're pretty good at it. So anyway,
I did it a lot.
like Jeff and Leo said, welcome, and it's Sunday. Very special episode. We're coming live from the UK with one of the most amazing people we've had the pleasure of chatting with, Miss Kerri Parker.
Hi.
And joining us, specially from the US, Miss Amy Miller.
Hi.
Dr. Amy Miller.
Oh,
Thank
sorry.
you.
That's right. Dr. Amy Miller. Congratulations on that.
It was my last day. It's official.
Yay, congratulations. That's
That's
incredible.
awesome.
Just real quick, Derek Spangenberg says good morning. How about you put some good music on? LOL. Tina Heel says good morning. June Taylor, good morning. Wendy Waterman says good morning as well. Robert Lacoutier, never seen Jeff up so early, and Tina Heel is on as well. So if you have any questions or comments, post them in the chat room, and I'll get back to them as best as I can.
Yeah, and actually, when I just did the share off like that, the questions, you'll see all of them, so I don't need those. I can take those old man glasses off now, finally. So, Jeff, you want to bring this in?
What am I bringing in?
Whatever you want.
Yeah. So, I've got a lot of questions. I know that, Amy, you had really reached out, the Green Angels, to really help Kerri. Could you tell us how that actually started?
I think, if I'm correct, that Darren reached out to Kerri just to have her, just to find some information about Darren. And she looked up and researched the information and then got a hold of us. And I'll let Kerri tell her story.
Right.
Where do I begin?
Well, let's go all the way back to the beginning.
Okay, so 7 years ago, I was diagnosed with my first brain cancer, and we had it removed. And then I had 5 years what I thought were clear, and it turns out they were not. It turns out my cancer had been progressing over those 5 years to terminal levels, but no one told me. The scans got missed, or it was a mess. So 2 years ago, they said, sorry, you're terminal. And it was a bit of a shock because we thought we'd been clear, and we thought, well, how does it go from nothing to 3/4 of my brain in the 6 months of the scan? And we later realized it had been slowly progressing. Now, over those 5 years, my mum had been researching because she said she never wanted me to have chemo and radiotherapy. And so she'd been researching, and she told me about cannabis oil. Obviously, in the UK, we had no idea where to source it, the legalities, we knew nothing. And then Darren reached out to me, and I just sensed some trust in him, and I literally put my life in his hands to advise me. And it worked out well for me because 2 years ago they said, you're not going to survive 1 month without chemo. And I'm like, hi, I'm still here 2 years later.
Right. Awesome.
Yay.
Awesome.
Thanks to Damien Aaron. Damien Aaron and Damien. Oh my God, Darren and Amy. My language and my brain gets really confused.
At 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
We love you, Kerri.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Because the tumor's in my language area, I just make up words sometimes.
But that's okay. So you came to the U.S. then, right?
Yeah, so I came to the US for treatment. I also went to Mexico, but that didn't work out too well for me. So I then came to the US to do my RSO and to do everything like that with the advice and support of the Green Angels. I didn't want to get arrested in my country. So.
Right. So, well, that was bringing us all the way back to the beginning. We just summed that all up in like 2 seconds flat, folks.
Okay, it's a great show.
Right.
Now, Kerri, you're an advocate over in the UK, obviously for cannabis and stuff, right?
Yeah.
How's that going over there? I mean, are they starting to see that this is an important thing, and they've got to get this medicine out to the public,
Yeah. The response of the UK is a lot of people have believed in me, patients. A lot of people have actually gone against the doctors, which my doctor told me off for. And they've said they want to do what I'm doing. And so far, several of my friends have saved their lives this way, which is incredible. But the doctors and the oncologists still will not admit that it works. They see me well. They see that I'm now stable. I've now stabilized my cancer from growing, which they told me couldn't be done without chemo and radio, and I've done it on my own. But there's still no belief in what I'm doing, and I actively get told that it will make it worse by some of them. So the doctors are not tired.
Yeah, we all follow your page. I believe it's Kerri's Kick-Ass Cancer Journey. Is that correct?
Okay. Yeah.
And I've actually seen a lot of people being very negative on there, which is part of the stigma that we're all trying to break with cannabis. You know, to those that want to be negative, you know, we appreciate that you keep your comments to yourself. It's that simple. So if you see any negativity coming up in the chat, Leo, boot them.
No,
feel free to boot it.
I will do that. I have the power.
Yes, he does.
So Tina's asking, so what's Carrie's latest status update on her recovery?
So in October, I was finally stable after 5 years, which was amazing. But thanks to you guys, Amy. But it's still, my cancer is so vast. It's in 3 lobes of my brain, and it's just such thick tumor that we've halted the growth, but we're yet to get into the kill phase to actually shrink it. And it seems you cannot throw enough at this. It's so aggressive, and we're never quite in front of it. We've always been just slightly under. So to be stable in October was absolutely incredible. But they told me in January that it's starting to get active again. So I need to go back into the stopping it and then try and get into the kill phase. It's very hard to do. And sometimes my belief has been, are we on the right track? And then to be told we're stable by a medical professional, I didn't think they'd admit it. So we then realized this is working and just have to keep throwing a little bit more at it.
Right.
Well, in the chat room, Robert says 3 years ago, people hardly knew of RSO. I almost saved my own father using it. Many had no idea. It's amazing how quickly info has gotten out there. Thanks to you and the Millers, you are angels. For those that don't know, can you explain RSO? What is it?
Are you asking?
Yeah, I think that'd be a question for Amy.
Yeah.
Okay, well, RSO is actually coined as Rick Simpson oil. Rick does not sell or support people on the oil. He just educates. So just so people know, if you're on a site where it says, you know, hey, or Rick Simpson said he was going to send me oil. No. RSO is a high THC cannabis oil for cancer patients. If you're making it yourself, it's already over 55% THC. There's no additives. If it is over 55% THC when you make it, it can cause what's called apoptosis or cancer cell death. This oil goes into the brain and unlocks the endocannabinoid system. All mammals, and we found out recently that all vertebrates have an endocannabinoid system. So basically any living thing has an endocannabinoid system. When you put the RSO into your body, it's taken orally. It's not like smoking it. When you smoke it, you light the end, immediately you get a euphoria and a high. When you eat the oil, it takes about 30 to 40 minutes to kick in to get a euphoria, and that's because it goes through the endocannabinoid system. It unlocks it, goes through 2 parts of your neurosystem, which is your CB1 and your CB2 receptors. It goes down into your liver and it heats it up. And that's where you get the euphoria. It's doing the decarboxylating in your liver and your body. And what it's doing is it's going in your body and attacking anything abnormal. Whether you have high blood pressure, lupus, fibromyalgia, Crohn's, high blood pressure. Matter of fact, people who have high blood pressure and are on blood pressure medications, we always tell them before you take the RSO, check your blood pressure. Because if you take the RSO and then your blood pressure is regular and then you take a blood pressure pill, you can bottom out. So it just goes through and attacks anything abnormal. It doesn't attack anything normal. It brings your body back to its physiological state. So what it's doing is it's going through your body and regulating you to where you were supposed to be. A lot of people ask, well, am I going to gain weight because I'm going to get the munchies? It's not that kind of euphoria. And once you've been on it for a while, you actually build up a tolerance to where you don't feel it anymore. You'd never know Darren was on cannabis oil anymore. He's just built up a tolerance to it. But it's still doing the same thing. After 5 years, he is still in complete remission. So, yeah, that's pretty much that in a nutshell.
Okay. So when somebody starts an RSO regimen, do you dose up as you progress forward? You don't just all of a sudden hit them with this high dose of RSO, right?
No. They come in 1 gram syringes typically, unless you make it, you can just dose out of a bowl. The first dose that you'll do is about the size of a grain of rice, and you'll do that every 3 hours. Now, this is for a cancer patient. If you're taking it as a maintenance, like I do, just take a little bit before bed every night. I take the size of a grain of rice just as a preventative and to keep regulating my body back to its physiological state. I donated my kidney 2 years ago to my neighbor, and I healed so fast. It regenerates cells and tissues. If you're a cancer patient, you'll start out with the grain of rice size every 3 hours, unless you're sleeping, then you sleep, and you'll do that for 7 days. After the 7 days, the next week, you're gonna go to 2 grains of rice size. You're gonna do that for 7 days every 3 hours. Third week, 3 grains, fourth week, 4 grains of rice, and you're building up a tolerance. By the 7th day, typically you don't feel it anymore. That's why it's just a comfortable way to build up that tolerance to where you're not uncomfortable. You absolutely cannot overdose or die from this, ever. It doesn't mess with your respiratory system at all. It's not like doing a drug such as heroin or anything like that actually messes with your respiratory system. So when you're taking this, it's literally a plant that gets you high until you build up a tolerance.
Okay, cool. Cool.
And once you get to the 1 gram a day, by week 4 and 5 is 4 to 5 grains of rice size every 3 hours. By the end of the day, you're on a gram a day. You'll stay on that as a cancer patient. You'll just stay on that dose until you're cancer free.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, actually it is.
Yeah, totally. So if you want to learn more about Amy or Kerri, we still got plenty of show left, but I want to let you know, check the show notes down below or up above, depending on where you're watching or listening to us, and you'll find a bunch of information there. You have the link for the Green Angels and also information for Kerri as well, some articles she was in, and also her YouTube page as well. Definitely subscribe to that.
So we're going to bring this back a little bit. I know we're talking about, the cancer treatments and things like that, but I want to share a little bit more on Kerri's story. I mean, this young lady has done, seen, and been more places than any of us could possibly even imagine. So it does, cancer it affects everybody, from the nobody name on the street corner to people that are pushed into stardom, such as Kerri. Just to be able to hear their stories is a really great thing. So let's touch a little bit, Kerri, about what you actually do and things that you've been doing. I think she froze. Oh, there she is.
Do you mean my recovery or?
Yeah, I mean, let's see. I got some show notes here. You were Miss UK, you were Miss Europe, Miss British Empire.
Still am Miss Europe, and just won Miss United Kingdom, another one as well, to go out to Miami this summer. So another
nice. One. So yeah, let's tell a little bit about that side of your story. Things like that you've been able to do. Hollywood stunt double, cover of Playboy. I mean, you've really been in the limelight for quite a few years.
Yeah, and this is me during my rest period as well. In my recovery, I still managed 2 international front covers and 2 massive pageant titles. But because my time has been limited, I wanted to fulfill all my dreams. And my dreams were get my black belt, which I did, even on a gram a day.
Congratulations.
And some days I just stood there and I looked and they were like, you didn't know your own name. And somehow I still completed 6 months black belt training, sparring, fighting the lot. So I got my first dream, even though I was on a gram of oil a day. It did not impact my training by the time I built my tolerance. I then went off to Miss World in the Bahamas last year as Miss Europe. I then came back, shot a front cover of Playboy, and then shot the cover of FHM, which was out in last month in February. So I wouldn't have had the opportunity to do any of that had I had chemo and radiotherapy. It was pretty much guaranteed memory loss, blindness, speech problems. I probably would have been in a wheelchair, to be honest. I don't think there would have been no quality of life, they said. But because of the RSO, I could actually keep my career. And I was training as a Hollywood stunt double. I got my dream to audition with an entire stunt team of Olympic athletes and Hollywood directors for a new movie. And I couldn't have done that if if I'd been taking the conventional treatment, which is absolutely incredible. And even though I'm now resting a lot more, I'm still able to do things I couldn't do because, like Amy says, it restores your body. My blood pressure actually went up. I've always been very, very low blood pressure, and it actually has restored it to the actual perfect rate, which is crazy. My sport recovery, training every day. I trained as a rock climbing instructor, my black belts, and I never ached. I never had any aches and pains. It was just incredible. I even broke my hand last summer. And my friend said to me, that's going to hurt when that cannabis oil wears off. I said, it doesn't ever wear off. Amazing. I feel no pain.
I mean, that's just, it's truly amazing. As you just touched on, it allows you to maintain your quality of life as well.
Yeah.
Which, that's just another reason to push the power of this plant.
Yeah.
We have any questions over there? Leo, I see you looking at the screens.
No, we do. So Tina Heel says, isn't it correct that Carrie was given a life expectancy that she has outlived with her way of treatment?
Hi, Tina. Nice to hear from you again. I love you. Yeah, so they told my mum that without treatment, I had a month to live, and they told her that December just gone, so near on 2 years, because I think that was from the summer scan in June. So this June it'll be 2 years that they said I had 1 month to live. And now our local oncologists have said I have 3 months to live. So actually it's going up slightly, but as I've proven them wrong, I counted off every month and celebrated it as 15 months, 16 months, 17 months. And then I just forgot. I stopped counting because I knew I was going to survive it because of this, which is incredible.
It is.
Amazing.
I love it.
Oh, sorry, I was reading. I was listening, but I was reading at the same time. Wow.
So there's obviously people that don't agree with the methods that you're using, because that's just human nature. So, do you get hassled sometimes? Are there actually people out there that will reach out and give you a hard time because you're trying to use RSO to save your own life?
To be honest, no. But when I first hit the media in the UK, it said cannabis over chemo. So many people were commenting, you stupid girl, you're going to die, you're stupid, you deserve to die. But that's just media trolls. But what I have come across on my page is a lot of people saying, well, I wouldn't give my kids that. And I'm like, well, I would. It's just they can't in England sometimes see what's in front of their eyes. Can be quite small-minded. Cannabis does have a very bad stigma here. It's just being a drug that gives you the munchies. You order a pizza and you lose your brain cells. Basically, that's the English way. And I'm like, well, I'm getting more brain cells from using it. So, but I'm hoping that I have opened a lot of minds, which a lot of people now come to me and say, if I ever got cancer, I want to do what you're doing. And a lot of people every day reach out to me and say, where do I find RSO? Who can help me? And I just try and advise them the best I can.
Yep. Okay, good.
Nice.
Good.
So, and Darren actually went through something similar to that with people actually hating and negative comments when his story first hit the media here in the U.S. I remember we touched on that briefly when he was on.
We still get it.
Yeah.
We still get the negative, you're just drug addicts. You just want to get high. And that's okay. You know what? Nobody ever got, died from getting offended. So I just kind of brush it off and think to myself, you know what? You're going to not be able to sometimes try and convince somebody of something that they've had as a stigma their whole lives. And that's okay. Those just aren't people that we have in our lives today. It's really easy to hit block or delete than to have to deal with negativity. The beautiful thing is that we can choose who we want to talk to. As far as people making comments on our pages, the block button's great. I have a lot of blocked people. Yeah.
Right.
The block is wonderful. I admit that. Yeah.
Wow. And I think that's really, really sad because, me personally, if I was in that situation and it was a life or death thing that I had to make a decision on what I was going to do, that's nobody's fucking business but mine.
Right.
Oh, he drops the F-bomb at 10:16 a.m. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you're given, a month, you have to do what you got to do. It's nobody knows how you're gonna feel unless you're in that predicament. And when you're given, a fight for your life, you gotta look for any way and necessary. Robert Lecoutier says we have contacts for oil, save lives, plants, not pills, is our motto.
Amy, are you guys still guiding people for the oils? All right, so I'm going to put that out there. I know a lot of people say they have contacts and things for oils, but Darren and Amy have started a mission in their lives to try and assist people with contacting the correct distributors of the oil. So if you'd like to reach out to the Green Angels, is that correct, Amy?
It is.
Okay.
You can either get on my Facebook page or Darren's. And I'm really glad you brought that up, because that has been a big issue where people have gotten on my page and said, it didn't work for us. And then they show us a picture of what they were giving their loved one. And it was an eyedropper with some liquid in it that was clear. And I'm like, well, that's because that's not, you can call anything. So people are putting RSO on hemp. And when I say hemp, I mean like CBD, or sometimes it doesn't even have CBD or THC in it. It's like sunflower seed and whatever in a jar.